Hello, and welcome to episode 87 of Expertise is Overrated, the podcast that takes the time to answer the questions you didn't know you didn't want the answer to. I'm Sean.
And I'm Vib, and neither one of us has any clue what we're talking about.
So it's a good thing we're delving into the wintry depths of something nobody knows anything about anyway, in the middle of summer.
I know, right? The
I love
irony.
I love it. I'm so happy to be back doing Dresden Files. I think we missed a trick just not being a Dresden Files podcast.
We really, sometimes I do think this, you know. Sometimes I really do think this. I don't know, it's a book series that for me came out of absolutely nowhere, and now I reread it more than I care to admit.
So no, absolutely the same. I can't remember who put me onto the Dresden Files. I think it might have been Ellie.
Sounds like an Ellie thing, yeah. Friend of the show.
I don't know who else it could possibly have been.
I mean, I'm happy to blame her because I think you, or friend of the show, Justine. Actually, I think it's between the pair of you. I think you suggested it around about the same sort of time. But anyway,
yeah, I'm not sure.
Here we are again.
Yeah, and
it's been what feels like a long time, but it actually hasn't been episode wise.
No, if someone's working through the backlog, they'll be like, these guys just finished talking about the Dresden Files.
Yeah, I know.
But I think we're very different. Last time we spoke all sorts of high media type stuff about the male gaze and things like that. No, we're not doing any of that nonsense today. Today we're doing our favourite thing and just talking nonsense about unfinished plot holes.
Exactly.
Well, not even plot holes, plot threads.
It's funny, I think that episode is what prompted me to maybe re-listen to Dresden Files. And I was like, wow, we did not go nearly hard enough, I think. Too politically correct we are.
I think we were quite soft, actually.
Yeah, too scared to push the boat out. Although I've had so many people also say, oh, actually, I don't get any of that. So, you know, kind of goes both ways. I mean, some people just enjoy the fiction, right? And can look past some of the deeper bullshit, but we can't because we're just wired that way.
Absolutely cursed to overanalyze anything and everything.
And we love a bit of conflict.
Yeah.
But we do love as well, as you alluded to before I cut you off rudely, good news.
Oh, I love it. We've been due a bit of good news, really.
We have been due a bit of good news. Although it's mildly good news because it's actually still a long way away.
I'm quite sad about this. I think I predicted September for 12 months, I seem to remember.
Yeah, 12 months coming out September 2025. Yeah, but January 2026, not awful.
I mean, it's coming. We have an actual date for 12 months. That's very good.
It's around about the same length of time between when we released our last Dresden Files episode and when this book comes out. So
that's upsetting and true. But no, that'd be very exciting. And I'm hopeful to pull this onto what we're hoping to talk about today. I'm hopeful that we start to see some of these unresolved plot threads get wrapped up.
I mean, 12 months, everything I've sort of seen about and people have speculated about, and what we've talked about previously as well, I think has that going for it, right? It feels like a sort of pulling all the loose plots together before, you know, shit really hits the fan.
Third to last episode of a season. It has that feel about it. We're going to wrap up the unresolved side plots so that we can really focus on the big stuff for the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
That was very specific, but never mind.
There's not that much. It makes sense, yeah.
There's not that much. He says there's quite a lot. So should we? Obviously, today the main thing we're talking about. I'm assuming because you.
I've just finished Proven Guilty. Yes,
Guilty recently. You sent me a message, like on a Saturday evening, about 10 o'clock, being like, "What the fuck happened at Arctis Tor?" Really though. Which is great because I was for dinner with my parents or something. I was just like, I don't know either.
Yeah, because I think you were in London, weren't you, that week? And I was also coming back from London from a conference. It was a hot day. I was on this roasting train and I just finished Arctis Tor and I was like, what the hell actually happened? So, yeah.
I don't know.
That's what we're going to get onto. But maybe let's maybe do a recap of various unknown plot lines. Putting us all on the spot here.
So the big one that always stands out for me, well, there's
the overarching
No, we're not going anywhere near that. That broke us last time. That was awful. There's a sort of big overarching question of who or what is the Black Council. So
Yes.
who taught Victor Sells, who gave the FBI agents the belts, things like that. But that also sort of, that feels like it might be the meta plot kind of thing. That's the what we're going to be trying to fix and find out over the course of the next however many bajillion books Jim Butcher cheats us into reading.
Well, what's nice about Proven Guilty, 'cause there's a lot of discussions on our Discord amongst other places where people are like, if you're introducing someone to the Dresden Files series, where would you recommend they start? Now, I'm not saying start to Proven Guilty, it makes no sense. But what's interesting about Proven Guilty is it is a book that sort of ends on, oh, by the way, guys, there are all these little things that are now going to start fitting together.
Yes.
And as you say, it alludes to exactly those things, the belts, etc. Asks it outright, it's like,
it has a good clunk feel when you get to the end of Proven Guilty, and some of the bits start to fit together. You start to put together some of the bits that that Harry has been putting together over the whatever it is 5 or 6 books. Lead up to Proven Guilty.
It's such a nice conversation he's got with Ebenezer McCoy before he really knows anything about who Ebenezer McCoy is.
And Ebenezer's like, I'm so glad you finally caught on. What has been taking you so long?
Exactly. Interestingly, he does instantly vouch for Listens to Wind, who I think we previously cast vague assertions towards.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because Harry goes straight to I trust Listens to Wind, and Eb, who has known Listens to Wind for centuries, doesn't.
No, it's the other way around.
Is it?
Yeah, because Harry vouches for Morgan bizarrely at the end of all of it, right? He says it's not Morgan. I mean, he literally says don't tell him, but it's not him.
Is it? Have
and
I
then Eb, in
that?
a throwaway comment, just goes, and I'll vouch for Listens to Wind, and that's all that's said about it.
No, you're absolutely right.
They have a little bit of a discussion about the gatekeeper as well, but they sort of said, who the fuck knows what the gatekeeper's doing?
Yeah. My memory is that Harry jumps to vouching for someone that he doesn't know.
No, he very aggressively vouches for Morgan.
It's Morgan, but that makes
weird,
sense.
Right? I mean, it's not weird because I think Harry knows his character. He just also thinks he's a massive...
He's an asshole, but he's our asshole.
Exactly, yeah.
You're absolutely right.
So I think that's really interesting because Eb, apropos of nothing, says it, but also then doesn't say anything about Martha Liberty or literally any other member of the senior council.
Well, Simon's dead at that point as well.
Simon, well, supposedly.
Hot takes incoming.
Well, I mean, you've written the Reddit buzzwords of all things Dresden Files, which are Cowell and Komori.
Yeah, so... But I think if we row back from Carl and Komori for a second...
No, let me derail, damn it.
The biggest thing for me that stands out is all the unfinished business from Bianca's party that we're still sort of getting to the bottom of now, nearly 15 books later.
I think it's such a well done bit of writing because when at the time you're reading that, right, it's book 4, I want to say
3. It's Blood Rights.
Is it Blood Rights? Yeah, I should know, having literally just read all these things.
Wait, is that right? No, it's 4.
It's not
Blood
3.
Rights.
No, it's 4. Oh god. Anyway, one of the very early books. A lot of things happen, right? We get introduced to Michael. We get introduced to Mavra.
Story. It's Ghost Story.
Sure, we'll go with it.
It's book 3.
Point is, right? Yeah. Lots of really big players were introduced,
yes,
including a bloody dragon. The Black Court is introduced. The Red Court is properly introduced. The White Court is introduced. The Knights of the Cross are introduced. There's a lot of shit going on, and obviously Harry just blows it all up. And
but there's so much
10 books later, it's sort of like, whoa.
Yeah. There's so much going on that Harry never really gets to grips with. So, like you say, Pharaoh is there. Mavra
he kills
there.
people, which is Harry, a big one.
Yeah, Harry kills people
with magic.
We see the power of Michael's faith, for example.
Thomas and Justine, which is very pertinent in
Thomas and Justine,
Battlegrounds.
absolutely.
Well, the whole series, but
we see things like Morgana's dagger, whatever gift it was that Bianca gave to Ferrovax, like all of this stuff that you just sort of pass over in the book because you're focused on, as Harry is, the action. But then these things are still, the dagger in particular, not just the dagger, are still hyper relevant. No, because the dagger is almost certainly how Leah is infected. And the dagger is given to Bianca by Cowell, we assume. But that's never actually made clear that it's that the two hooded figures are definitely Cowell and Komori. That's an assumption and a leap that Harry makes that has just been accepted as true because Cowell and Komori don't say it wasn't them. But if you're a mastermind evil wizard, why would you deny an assumption that your opponent has made?
Yeah, quite. Although Cowell is a relatively emotional character, so I don't know.
Yeah, Cowell is so weird.
But Cowell is weird because we've essentially not seen anything of him, right? I mean, this is why I find these threads on Reddit so amusing. Like, oh, who is Cowell? Could be this, could be this. It's like there's literally probably all told about 10 lines about Cowell, you know?
He features in the zombie book.
Yeah.
Quite heavily.
Yeah.
And then there's like a throwaway mention of him in one more book.
He's in White Knight.
Is that where he brings the Uberghouls in?
Yes, he brings the Uberghouls in because he's one of the sort of main dudes working with Madrigal Wraith? Question mark. One of the vampires.
We think.
Well, no, because this is when Harry follows him through Little Chicago, which we'll come on to in a minute as well.
Yeah, Little Chicago.
and he follows what he doesn't, I think, at the time know is Madrigal Wraith.
And then he meet Cowell?
End up at Cowell because Cowell sort of like bitch slaps him in the head, in the mind.
Little Chicago. Yeah.
It's very like Cowell's a very confusing character. Not to mention anything like Komori, who's, if anything, even more complicated.
Yeah.
But I think Cowell's interesting for people because he literally exploded, at least we think, and yet is not dead. So we think. Well, yeah, think. A lot of thinking, yes. And I think even in massive truck roaring past outside, of course. What we think Cal's dialogue in the zombie book is already so much different to the other antagonists, right? Corpse Taker and Gravane.
Yeah.
Because Cal seems to operate from a different... For different reasons, right? I don't know. Rereading it, I almost got the impression that Cal's probably not a bad guy.
It's really confusing, isn't it? Because Cowell very much in the zombie book talks about Gravane and the Corpse Taker separately. He talks about like the heirs, doesn't he? Like separately from himself. So Gravane and Corpse Taker are obviously. Gravane was Kemmler's apprentice, like favoured apprentice, and Corpse Taker was another apprentice. And then we all assume that Cowell is also an heir of Kemmler. But I don't think that he ever admits that.
He does in a roundabout way, right? Because he's the one who does the enormously complicated magic that puts the power out and stuff. And then he's like, well, this is just like the old days where it's always me doing the intricate stuff.
You're right. He does do that.
But you're also right. Like, he doesn't... I don't know. He doesn't claim...
Using dangerous words, he doesn't claim the mantle of an heir of Kemmler in the same way that someone like Gravane does. Gravane very much positions himself as Kemmler come again.
So it begs the question, is he maybe just Kemmler? You know?
Is Cowell maybe just Kemmler? Yeah. I quite like that theory.
That sort of Kemmler without all his mental faculties or all his memories or something like that.
Well, if you assume that... We're not talking about Kyle and Komori today, but if you assume that Kemmler can do what Corpse Taker does, right, jump from body to body.
Yes.
We see Corpse Taker jump into a body just before Corpse Taker is killed. That suggests to me that Kemmler could have done the same thing when the White Council finally burned him out. So my theory, because I have nothing better to do than come up with stupid theories about the Dresden Files. My theory is that Kemmler became Justin. And
interesting, Justin. Okay, another very mysterious character.
Yeah. The only thing that damages this theory is Justin gets absolutely done in by like 16-year-old Harry, which makes no sense at all.
But again, does he?
Does he?
Many theories, because I mean, he also thought that Elaine died and all that, right? And Elaine's very much not dead, so
she's not.
Yeah, so very. By the way, spoiler alert for all of the Dresden Files, of course. 20 minutes in. I mean, we'll stick it in the description because we've been told off before. But equally, what the hell are you doing listening to a podcast about the Dresden Files if you don't want spoilers? Yes, anyway, but it's so interesting, right? Because you just mentioned two names, Cal and Kamora, and before you know it, you're off on a tangent discussing who the hell they are. And I think it's a testament to how well Jim Butcher has really written this so far. And explaining why he needs what we think is going to be a book that ties it all back together again.
I think that's right. I think 12 months is going to need to wrap up some of these. Not necessarily put a bow on them or anything like that, but like just you've got to give us a bit more. Well, you don't have to, but
give us, but also just remind the reader as to what things may have been forgotten.
And also, why does Cowell's identity matter?
Well, exactly.
That's I think the biggest thing. If Cowell is actually just H.J. Wizard the Third or whatever, and he's no one we've ever met before, that's kind of fine. If Cowell's identity is just that he's Cowell, then I think that's probably fine. But you've kind of got to tell people that. Because you're building up and building up and building up his identity in your head.
Well, I don't know. I quite enjoy that as a sort of little author's joke. But that would be funny if Howell is just Harry Potter the Third. Just random wizard.
Yeah,
which Ron and Hermione
he's just nobody.
Cal's not that lanky, is he? Don't know. Just Harry and Ginny. It's just a little fanfic that Jim Butcher put in there.
That would be really, really funny.
Dark Harry and Ginny, well, if anything, it'd be the other way around, because Komori seems to slightly more... Caring is the wrong word, because I don't want to, character assassinate Ginny Weasley here, but... Cal's giving me more Ginny vibes, actually. Anyway, no, the whole point of proving guilty in my head is which we'll come on to now, is like, what the fuck happened in Arctis Tor, but also... the fuck is happening in the series? There's so many things going on.
This is, I think, the big question that Arctis Tor really brings to the fore. So, at the end of proving guilty, when Harry, Charity, Carpenter, Murphy, and Thomas go to try and rescue Molly from Arctis Tor, which is the sort of winter fairy stronghold. What a sentence!
Yeah,
they come upon the scene. They come upon the scene of an enormous battle, like a Lord of the Rings scale battle, from the sound of things, and it's just never engaged with. Like, how did this great carpet of corpses come to be? Who was fighting whom? And they find Molly and they rescue her and all of that. But it's never like. Am I missing it? Have I just not read the series recently enough? It's never
mentioning it. And Mab never seemingly talks to Harry about it.
No, that's what I don't understand. Why doesn't Harry go, right, I'm now the Winter Knight. Can you bring me in on some of the weird shit that's been going on? For example, who attacked you 6 years ago?
Do we think Harry remembers?
Well, you see... I think that's a really interesting question. Because we know Harry's memory has been messed with before.
Mm-hmm. By Mab.
Among
others, I'm sure. But
which implies that Mab can do it, and probably other entities of a similar potency to Mab, I wondered whether Bonnie has some of these memories. Because she grew in Harry's head, basically, and then was spat out of Harry's head, where at some point we know that Lash took a psychic attack for that was aimed at Harry that killed, quote-unquote, Lash, preventing brain damage to Harry, but that can't have been like a surgical thing. I think, does Harry remember, is a really, really interesting question.
I'm really trying to think now if Arctis Tor is ever discussed after the fact.
It is once.
I think it comes up when Thorned Namshiel becomes...
So in Small Favour, I'm quoting from the Dresden Files fandom wiki.
Nice.
Apparently, in Small Favour, Mab says that she and Uriel had a common enemy that day. Which is Small Favour?
Yeah, but to my mind, that always implies they're talking about outsiders. So, because bottom line is, right, very soon after the events of Proven Guilty, the next time we see Mab, I think she's so angry that she can't speak, right? And that's probably because Maeve has gone down the same path.
Because Maeve has been infected.
Leah. Yeah. Which is interesting, because I don't know, you don't get the sense in Proven Guilty that Mab is aware of that, because the whole idea throughout the book is that people are saying, oh, Mab's gone crazy. And the Arctis Tor events, I think, make Harry potentially agree with that, right? And the Summer Lady, obviously, is being swayed by Maeve at this point as well.
Yeah.
But Mab never seems particularly put out by what happened to Arctis Tor.
And doesn't Mab's statue smile and wink at Harry?
I always took that as well, but actually the way he talks about it leaves some room for doubt.
Does it?
Because he just says he thought the statue moved. He thought the statue's eyes became very real, just like Mab's eyes for a second. But he never outright says, "Oh, Mab winked at me." And Mab, again, I don't think ever really brings it up, right?
Yeah.
It is the statue that we then see in Hades' lair, pretty much. At least it's described very similarly, right? 3 identical.
What is Hades doing?
Well, I mean, there's another one who potentially
Hades
has
is a player.
Yeah, potentially has Hellfire, quote unquote. Depends on your interpretation of.
I don't think he's got Hellfire
and Brimstone.
He's got Mordite.
He certainly has Mordite, but do you not think that Hades would also have access to like Brimstone?
No, because I think Hellfire and Soulfire are opposites, and I don't think Hades has a metaphysical opposite.
No, sure. When I say Hellfire, maybe I'm using a misnomer. I mean something that would smell like sulfur.
Potentially, but that's a really weird red herring.
That's very true. Yeah, that's very true.
I think that you have to put a bit of the Occam's razor to that. I think, yes, it's entirely possible that Hades is capable of using powers that would smell like Hellfire, but why would you include that if you were Jim Butcher? Unless you were trying to deliberately confuse people, which is entirely possible.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable to think that there is some direction.
I don't think it's an unreasonable assumption that Hades Hades using some of his power would give you an underworldy smell, which is traditionally a sulfury brimstone smell. I think that's fair.
But the point I'm sort of trying to make is that, you know, the statue we see in Arctis Tor that may or may not actually have been Mab.
Yeah.
And also, like, what the hell is Mab doing? Is she actually protecting us? Do we think that she was infected at some point and has also put herself in stasis, and therefore Arctis Tor was allowed to be attacked because she was kind of just away?
Oh.
Do we buy that?
Do we buy that? I don't buy that Mab is capable of infection. I'm going to put it out there.
Why not?
For the same reason that Mab is capable of withstanding the Eye of Balor. So I think in order to be capable of infection, you have to be capable of desire, essentially. It needs a chink in your armor, right? So the chink in Maeve's armor was resentment of her mother. Justine's is her fear for Thomas. Things like that. I don't think Mab has that. I don't think there's a way that Nemesis could worm its way into Mab. I think Titania is probably capable of infection. But if we go back to this idea that Mab is a creature of pure reason, and it was pure reason that allowed her to withstand the Eye of Balor, I think that's the same reason why Mab can't get infected.
But we know that that's not true, though.
Do we?
Well, of course. She gets so irrationally angry about her daughter being infected that she literally can't speak for fear of killing mortals around her. Like, that's not a rational response, you know?
But that but the anger is a rational response. My point is, Mab allows her daughter to be killed as a result of the infection.
Yes.
Right. So her rational response is to just go, that's now a burned asset. And I'm angry that Maeve is now a burned asset. I'm so angry that my voice would kill mortals. But she doesn't go and try and look to make deals or anything like that. She
handles it very differently. But I guess what I'm saying is that maybe it's because we know that she used to be mortal, but there is a bit more humanity to her than I think.
That's potentially true.
Yeah, it's hard to sort of explain because it's not like Titania is purely emotional, right? I mean, those would be some very one-dimensional characters. So I like the idea that Mab couldn't be infected. I'm just not sure I'm with you there. Just
no,
yet.
I think that's probably fair
because I just can't wrap my head around why she would just. Well, I guess this is the crux of the argument, right? If we assume that Arctis Tor was attacked because somebody wanted to attack Arctis Tor, right?
Yeah.
So Mab is there doing Mab things. There's clearly...
What does Mab even do? Sorry.
Drinking iced tea.
Yeah.
Watching.
Literally.
Well, yeah, because at this point, right, I guess an important part to remember here is that at this point, Winter is poised to attack Summer, or repel an attack from Summer, right? Because the Winter forces are all out on the borders.
Yes,
so Arctis Tor is being supposedly defended by some sort of skeleton garrison, as it were.
Which in Mab's case probably means literal skeletons.
Yeah, well, by the time Harry shows up, they are definitely all skeletons. But this is the thing, right? So Mab is ostensibly planning a war,
but we don't.
Which I still don't really get. It's never explained why we're again at loggerheads, right? Because the previous time that we see Summer and Winter getting at it is because again infection of the Summer Lady in that case.
Yeah.
So Mab clearly knows that by Arctis Tor, right? Because she's put Leah in rehab.
Yes, she's put Leah in rehab.
So what do we think Mab is doing in the events of proving guilty? Like, what is she actually
baiting
up to?
So I think she's baiting a trap.
Okay, so as in
Nemesis, I think baiting Nemesis, baiting the Black Council, come at me, bro, type thing. Not necessarily. So I think there's two things that could be happening. The first is that Mab is baiting a trap to induce the Black Council to attack Arctis Tor because Mab is their greatest adversary in breaching the outer gates. If they can take out Mab, they can basically win. That's it.
Yeah.
And end of story. Because they already have Maeve.
But Mab doesn't know that at that point.
But she knows that something is afoot.
Yeah, so I guess, are we agreeing that Mab is trying to bait this to figure out who in her court is still infected? Right, because she's taken Leah out of the game, and
she knows Leah's out the game, and something's still not right.
Yeah, and then she gets very angry, right, in subsequent books. So she must find out about Maeve
from Leah, potentially.
I don't know if it's from Leah, no, because I think you're right. You're onto something with the whole trap idea, right? Because what ends up happening after the events at Arctis Tor is that obviously winter, as in summer fire, is unleashed in the winter spring well.
Yeah,
wellspring indeed. Yeah, spring well is not. It's not a thing.
That's just not a word.
and time is slowed, right? That's what Maeve does. So it's very obvious to anybody observing that what's going on.
Time is slowed.
It's summer and winter working together to achieve a particular outcome. So Mab will therefore know, or at least we've narrowed it down to a very short list of people, right? Because Leah's not doing it. So how many people have the power, right? You're talking
realistically
things like
the only
Earl
person
King
in winter.
yeah.
And at this point,
the Winter Lady or the Winter Mother, I guess. But
we know it won't be Mother Winter because she'd probably just eat Nemesis.
Yeah, she hasn't got time for this sort of shit, you know?
Yeah, sorry, I have bigger things to worry about than the end of the world. Fuck off, man. I love the Winter Mother. She's so bizarre.
Both mothers terrifying. Are so good. Yeah, they're such good characters. So I think you're onto something. It's a big trap to expose, I think, who it is in her court that's working with the Black Council.
Yeah.
Beyond Leah, I guess.
I think that's option the first. The other idea that I have, which is both more and less insane, is that Mab is playing literal 4D chess, as in time travel shenanigans, and the people that attack Arctis Tor are future Harry and future John Marcone.
So Cal and Komori.
So Harry as
Harry as Komori and
no, future Harry as Cole.
No, because Cal is notably too short, isn't he?
No, he's tall. He's not Harry tall, but he is tall.
Yeah, but that's the point. He's too short to be Harry.
Yeah, but magic time travel shenanigans.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So the reason I think John Marcone is potentially involved is the assertion that Harry makes that's never accepted by it or confirmed by anyone, but it's also never rebutted by anyone, that the Hellfire came from Thorned Namshiel.
Yes. It's a sort of process of elimination type thing, right?
Namshiel as the sort of rogue agent in Nicodemus's outfit.
Yeah.
And Marcone as the holder of Namshiel's coin.
Yeah. Although it could be much simpler, right? It could just be a situation like with Harry, a wizard who's picked up the coin or touched the coin for some reason attacking Arctis Tor, but that would be somewhat spectacularly bad writing and being like, oh yeah, that whole thing was just some fourth party that never heard about.
Literally never relevant again. I think we have to assume that these breadcrumbs are relevant.
Yeah. So as I think you're right then, that probably narrows it down to someone, well, Thorn Namshiel generally, but we know that that's Marcone. Or another wizard.
Or it was pre-Marcone Namshiel. We don't know when Marcone gets Namshiel.
It could be pre-Namshiel, pre-Marcone Namshiel, yeah.
But again, I wonder why you would do that, because the revelation is going to come in a later book as to what, if the revelation ever comes, is going to come in a later book. So if the revelation is it was Namshiel with his ex-coin holder before Harry threw him through a Hellfire beam with Soulfire, which again, Dresden really generates weird sentences. That's what happens in Proving Guilty. No, that's what happens in Small Favour. It's not. It has no emotional resonance really. It's just, oh yeah, it was Namshiel while his coin was held by someone who's now dead. It's not very interesting. It was Namshiel and Marcone from the future working to get to the past through the Never Never to create a situation in which almost like a circular. They have to create a
Yeah,
situation
yeah.
in which Molly can be rescued, so that Harry goes and rescues Molly. And
Because the only, yeah, I don't really like Marcone for it, because I just don't at this point get it. I prefer some sort of version where it's Harry, a time traveling Harry, or the obvious time traveling wizard, which is Rashid.
Or it's Mirror Harry.
Mirror Harry could work as well. But I kind of like Rashid for it, right? Because the whole, if we're again operating on the assumption that the whole Arctis Tor thing and proven guilty is one big trap to expose Nemesis.
I really like Rashid for it as well.
It feels like a gatekeeper move, right? Yeah.
And the Hellfire was going the other way, so Rashid is there with Mab.
That or Rashid has a coin.
Rashid having a coin is Rashid having a coin. I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's insane, but I really rate it.
Yeah.
Rashid is the ultimate. Tools are just tools.
Yeah, there is something to that, right?
Yeah.
And I think it could make sense if Rashid and Mab are just like, listen, we need to figure this out, so why don't I rile up or like gather together the Black Council and we'll attack Arctis Tor. I'm not quite sure how that follows, but he's just so mysterious.
The idea that Rashid has a coin is so good. Or Rashid has a direct conduit to Lucifer. He doesn't need a coin.
I was also trying to work on that. Like, does he just know some dudes? You know, does he just have good connections in hell?
Rashid has a literal deal with Lucifer, and that's how Rashid gets access to Hellfire. And the part of the deal is that when Judgment Day comes and the bells are rung, Rashid opens the gates of hell and lets Lucifer out, so that Lucifer can fight in the battle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
No, but because I like the idea. Like, I agree. I think the Arctis Tor attack has got Mab's handwriting all over it.
It screams false flag, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the reason I also think that literally everybody in Arctis Tor is dead. We'll come on to the fetches in a second, because I really don't understand what's going on with that. But
no, me neither.
But because the way that I see it is in my head, right, is Mab is doing a witch hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Right, she enlists potentially Rashid, potentially Marcone from the future, something along those lines.
Yeah,
to be like, listen, it's imperative that we figure out who the threat is. Mab obviously suspects people, right? So I think she sends all the forces she trusts to the summer borders. She keeps all the forces she doesn't trust inside Arctis Tor, and is like, we need somebody with enough hitting power that will actually carve through literally everybody in Arctis Tor. Because otherwise, I just don't think she would allow everything in Arctis Tor to be killed. Because like everything's dead, right? That's there.
But I don't think we hear of any she there.
No.
It's
all
like
troll bones
goblins and trolls and things like that. It's no.
So it could be that.
Nobles.
But equally, I don't think anyone of that party sort of particularly looked through the bones and was like, oh yeah, that looks like it could be an elf lord.
Hey, that could be Glorfindel.
Yeah, exactly. He would never be dead. Literally impossible. So yeah. And we see Mab and Marcone making some deals. We obviously know that Mab and the Gatekeeper work together.
Yeah.
And we know that Mab and Harry work together. It could just be that she's tasked future Harry with this job.
I just don't see... The reason why I don't think it could be Harry on his own is I don't see the Harry that we ever get to know in the books capable of what I imagine is the finesse necessary for time travel.
Yeah, but that could be assisted, right?
No, that's the thing. So I think he's going to need either Rashid or Namshil to help him. He provides the raw weight, the raw heft to do it, and potentially the Soulfire to do it.
Yeah, but why is he then using Soulfire and Hellfire at the same time? No, but I also wonder if Harry can just use his mother's amulet.
Pentacle.
Yeah.
Time travel pentacle.
Well, that's the thing, is it's a guidance thing, right? Which we've only ever seen work in terms of like never guidance, but There's nothing to suggest it can't do time.
There's nothing to. There's nothing in the rules that says a dog can't play basketball.
Exactly. Exactly. Point is, I think we can both agree that this feels like Mab doing it, right? That's why she pretends.
I think that has to be right. I think especially the map that we see in, say, Battlegrounds, right? The map that we see in Battlegrounds, there is absolutely no way she loses that fight apart from anything else. Like, Mab on her own shouldn't lose that fight.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
At Arctis Tor, at the center of her power. I mean, we hear Vadarung say, you know, we sit here at the center of my power, and I could just kill you by willing that it were so. And you're not telling me that Mab doesn't have that kind of power at Arctis Tor.
No, exactly. So I think she needed a situation where she knew Harry would have to come to Winter in order to expose the dirty, fallen, infected Winter agent.
Yeah.
Because she needs him to stroll in there with Summer Fire, right? I 100% believe that she knows that Lily's sort of going to help him.
Not because she knows that Lily is thick as shit, basically.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, I mean, it's super obvious.
Yeah. I'm 1,000 years old. I've seen this nonsense before.
Like, Fix even says it, well, when it turns out that Maeve and Lily work together, Fix is like, you're working with Maeve? Like, really?
We're really doing this? And Lily's like, what? She's fine. And everyone in the room is like, she's really not Lily.
And so that's the thing. So I think Mab can't obviously do it in such a way that she sends everybody out of Arctis. Well, that's too weird. So she needs someone to clear the way for Harry.
Yeah.
Because he's not punching his way in. And then he gets there. And the fetches are literally just fetches, right? I think it's in the name. That they're just there to make sure they're the lure.
They go and get the thing that pulls Harry in. I think, the name is well chosen.
Yeah, exactly. Terrifying as well. The fetches. That whole book is mildly terrifying.
It's such a weird book. There's so many weird plot threads in that book as well.
Honestly, when I was rereading it, I was like, I've never read this book before. There's so many things that I'd forgotten. So many connections that I'd forgotten. Or never realised were there.
The weird horror director, isn't there? Who's actually a vampire.
That's Madrigal Race,
That's Is it actually Madrigal?
Yeah.
Who tries to sell Harry on eBay.
Yeah, and then Thomas shows up.
Marcone's also there. I think. Is Marcone there, or is Marcone there a different time? Because it all keeps going down at the same...
No, Marcone's actually not in the book.
No, sorry, it happens in the same garage that Marcone is also held captive in at some point. The Full Moon Garage.
Yes, which, I noticed that as well. I was like, why does everything seem to happen in this one place?
I think there's a question there.
Must be a ley line or something.
Yeah. Most gets hit by a truck at one point.
Yeah, and kind of literally walks it off.
Fine.
Yeah, just has a slight limp for the rest of the book.
We have the first awkward Molly and Harry scene.
Super awkward. Super awkward.
That's where we learn that Molly can do magic.
Well, we learn Molly can do magic. We learn Charity can do magic, but chooses not to.
But doesn't, yeah.
We learn a lot about the Merlin, because it's all the trial stuff.
Yes, because that's why Michael isn't there. That's why both Michael and Ebb aren't around, isn't it? Because they're doing war stuff. Yeah,
and they show up right at the end. Just swan in with Michael having just rescued like all the junior wizards.
Yeah.
Along with Ebb and...
When Rashid says, the senior council hasn't made a decision because I haven't made a decision, and then just stands for 10 minutes.
Rashid is honestly my favourite wizard in the series. He's just so good.
It's like, I've got 6 of the 7 votes, and why does it matter? And Rashid's like, because it's my decision. I have to live with this no matter what happens.
Exactly.
Then he goes and opens the door.
Opens the door just as like a warden's about to knock. It's just such beautiful.
Yeah,
like the whole thing. The minute the gatekeeper shows up and everyone's like, "Oh, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's so weird and mysterious," and he stands in the middle of the room the entire time.
Yeah, just leaning on his staff, being like la di da di da.
Yeah, he's so good, Rashid. I mean, honestly,
I don't 100% trust him though.
He's neither Black Council nor White Council. He is the epitome of Grey Council.
I think you're right. I think that's actually right. I think Rashid was Grey Council before there was a Grey Council.
Yeah.
Which is why I think Rashid might have Hellfire or whatever it might be. I think Rashid is absolutely the kind of person who would cut a deal with Lucifer if it bought reality another day.
Rashid reminds me a lot of Harry in the sense that he's just doing what he needs to do to get the job done, right?
Yeah, I'll fix that problem later.
Yeah, and it'll put him at odds with anyone.
Yeah.
That's also why I think Rashid kind of likes Harry. At least that's my vibe on that.
I think that's probably true. But Rashid is Harry with 500 years of experience.
Yeah.
So he's yeah.
Yeah. And we learned so much about the Merlin in terms of like the guy seems to be just a politician. It's really strange.
But
he's so like tone deaf.
It's the first time that we see Harry trying to do politics, and he's so bad at it. He gets a lot better, but this is the one
he snookers the Merlin, and then realizes that was the wrong idea.
Yeah, he doesn't give the Merlin an out. That's the problem. That's what I mean. So he sort of, in some ways, he outplays the Merlin.
It's really funny because that whole scene is like, haha, I've done it, and then it's like, oh shit, that was definitely not the right thing to have done though.
Well, I've said all the right things and done all the right things and brought all the right people, and it was really fucking stupid because I forgot who I was dealing with.
Yeah, and then you need divine intervention and Michael Carpenter.
Michael Carpenter. Michael Carpenter, who in that moment, in that space, could probably take literally everyone in that warehouse.
Yeah, we don't yet know his full power.
Well, no, because he's at that moment, he's still holding the Sword of Love, and he would have been using it in defense of someone that he loved. Like, I reckon he goes through all of those wizards like a hot knife through butter. He probably dies in the attempt, but I think he wins.
I think he does, yeah. It's just like these little tidbits, like when the Merlin just casually asks Harry, "Oh, which sword?" Like,
yeah.
Like, I know they're masters of lore and stuff, but it feels so blasé almost, you know.
It's such a good line as well. It's such a world opening line. I think. Which sword? Amarachius. Like, it just, that is enough to encapsulate so much, I think. I love this series. I really do.
It's such a good series, you know. You can talk about these sort of things endlessly. Especially because, you know, when Harry invites Lily, it really exemplifies just how immature Harry still is, right, at this point, as you were saying.
Yeah.
You know, first time politicking, doesn't know. When he brings Lily in, because he's like, haha, I need her, and then she just does something he was not expecting her to do. And he's like, what the fuck? Yeah, I think he becomes a much better chess player after this.
So if you contrast, I think the really interesting one to do is to contrast Harry at the end of Proven Guilty with Harry at the end of Battlegrounds. Because he's in a very similar situation. He's in a room with a load of people who are trying to make a decision, and he's advocating for one side of that decision. And in Proven Guilty, he bungles it bluntly, and he gets lucky because Rashid saves him. In contrast, in Battleground, he wins. He absolutely wins that scene in Battleground because he is much calmer, much better prepared, and gives people the out that they need. He leans on the right levers for the right people.
Except that his character somehow regresses, right? Because in the very early phases of the series, Harry doesn't communicate effectively whatsoever, Right? You see that early on with Murph like arresting him and so on and so forth. And then there's real personal growth where he actually starts talking to things. That scene at the end where he's talking to Michael and he, reveals that actually what he's been so upset about and why he's been avoiding Michael is because he just killed people, right? He killed Corpse Taker and he killed who else was it in Cold Blood? And
Cassius?
Cassius, exactly right. And that's that shocks him when he's like, oh, that's the confession I actually wanted to get off my chest. And then afterwards he's like, oh, by the way, I've also got a coin.
Yeah, he doesn't even realize what it is that's eating him up. He thinks the whole way through he thinks he's avoiding Michael because of the coin.
Yeah, exactly. And that's such a great scene, and obviously Michael knows and is the right person to be talking to. And it's one of these moments of like, oh, Harry's finally starting to trust his own words and the fact that he can talk about things.
Yeah.
And then come Battlegrounds, the big problem we always say is use your fucking words. Like, he just stops communicating. He doesn't say anything to Carlos. It's just...
I don't...
There's just weird.
I come back to Peace Talks and Battleground. There is something fundamental that we are missing about what's going on in Peace Talks and Battleground. I'm not sure what it is. I maintain time traveling Ebb, but that's just because whenever I don't have an answer, I resort to time travel.
But then you make it funky because it's Ebb doing it.
Yeah. Time traveling Ebb in Peace Talks, I think. But if not that, there is something really weird going on. In the way both that Harry interacts with Carlos, but also in the way that Carlos interacts with Harry. And I know that there's all sorts going on with Carlos from the short stories and things like that, but I don't know, it's very weird. Because I don't know why. I do not understand why when they pull him off the road and they do the like weird magic thing and Yoshimo's like, oh yeah, he's like had sex in the last 24 hours or whatever it was. Harry, I don't know why Harry doesn't just look Carlos in the eye and say Murphy or like, yes, it's a breach of privacy and what have you, but you're also at war, like, with creepy things, like you say, he regresses massively, and it's not really. I don't understand it.
Yeah, because it's some sort of weird act of chivalry, almost, right? And this intrusion thing, but
do you not think that I suppose this is that goes to the chivalry point. If Murphy was there, Murphy would be like, "Yes, it was with me."
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Fuck off.
Absolutely. And especially to someone like Carlos, who's one of Harry's closest friends. Like, he must be by far his closest friends in the White Council. Yeah. And we know that Carlos has had a rough time because of Molly, right? Harry's apprentice.
But Harry doesn't know that.
Does he not know that? I suppose he doesn't really know that.
Harry doesn't know that.
But from Carlos's point of view, like, that's what he's seeing, right? As in, my mate's former apprentice absolutely fucked me up, and it's never explained. No. And now because Carlos says as much, right? He's like, oh, you're cavorting with all these really dangerous things. You yourself are immensely dangerous on like a comical level, and you're not being honest with anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, it's a weird character regression. As you say, it's nice to entertain the idea that we're just missing something as a reader. I guess we are, but
I sort of hope that we are, because the alternative is, as you say, like character regression.
Yeah.
That's
why I sort of think, if I were a butcher, and obviously I'm not a majorly successful author, and I 100% believe that he knows what he's doing, but if we think 12 months is what we feel it is, I get it, So just a little sort of reprieve of like, no, let's actually think about all these storylines that I need to start wrapping up.
Because there's the Wild Bill and Yoshimo and Chandler storyline that needs dealing with as well.
Oh yeah, because Wild Bill and Yoshimo are effectively dead.
Well, no, they're black. They're not, it's worse. They're not black dead. Collar.
Yeah. Well, they're not that either yet, right? They've been taken.
I assume they've been taken to be turned.
And then Chandler, who, query might also be a time-traveling Hellfire hurling wizard.
Yeah, he's the Arctis Tor theory that we didn't deal with.
Yeah. But partly because I just think it's too...
There's no resonance there.
Exactly. Like, Chandler's great and all that, but equally... you know?
Yeah.
Although, like, Chandler's always sort of portrayed as a voice of reason. So it feels like a partnership between him and Mab could make sense.
But he's kind of a nobody.
He is kind of a nobody, yes. I think we'd have to go back and explore that.
Yeah, you'd have to spend a lot of time with Chandler in whichever book it was revealed that it was Chandler.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's kind of shit that the MCU would pull. Right? It's like, oh, it's this guy that you'd only know from 5 episodes of TV show that we did.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's not... doesn't fill me with joy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, doesn't fill me with joy.
But then Chandler is also locked up on Dragon's Reach? That's a very different franchise. The fuck's it called?
Chandler is probably locked in Demon Reach.
Demon Reach, thank you. I was like, I knew the word Reach was in there somewhere.
Chandler is probably... If it's not Hercules, it's probably Chandler.
Or the OG Merlin.
Or the OG Merlin.
Who may well be Chandler.
Who may also be Chandler.
Although I'm still operating in the assumption that the Merlin is also just Merlin. And that the Merlin has always been Merlin. And that Merlin will always be the Merlin.
The once and future Merlin.
Yeah. The all-time ever Merlin. It's just a shame that he seems like a bit of a dick.
I reckon Merlin, the OG Merlin, was an absolute shitbag. Because you'd have to be.
You'd have to be. But again, going back to when Harry points out to the Merlin that it's Amarachius, and Merlin goes, I think that's him just remembering, oh yes, I remember when I put that in the stone. There would be a poetic sort of...
Thank goodness it's Amarachius, the sword I'm most familiar with, having forged it.
Exactly.
1,000 years ago. Oh dear.
That's a whole separate theory, the Merlin being just the one constant in the universe.
Arthur Langtry is just Merlin.
Be funny if there's just some really easy anagram in there somewhere. Like, Tom Marvolo Riddle.
I am Merlin.
Yeah, we just don't know Arthur Langtry's full name, because then we could summon him at our own...
Yeah, whatever his middle name is, it needs an M.
Exactly, yeah. Or it's even easier, just Arthur Merlin Langtry.
Arthur Merlin.
I mean, he does also have the name Arthur in his name, so I'm just saying, like, all these things start to really point you in a direction.
Langtry is actually just a modernisation of Lancelot.
Exactly. He's Arthur Merlin Lancelot. He literally is the Round Table. That's a whole new theory. Chew on that, Reddit.
In Arthur Langtry's bedroom, there is a statue reminiscent of the Hecate statue that Hades has, but it's just his face 3 times. Once with a knight's helmet on, once with a crown on, and once with a wizard's hat on.
Yeah. I like that a lot, actually. I like that a lot. Oh man, I hope we get to see more of the Merlin in any case, because I think he's such an
I want more of the Merlin. I also want the Merlin to go out in an absolute blaze of glory. I don't think he survives to the end of the series, but I want his death to be absolutely epic. I want him to be the one who goes down, who takes out Faravax or something.
Yeah, well, he has to be, right? Because the Merlin / Merlin goes back to when, I think we were in the infancy of the She courts being in charge of the gates. So the Merlin dying is the flashpoint that means that there's a changing of the guard.
That's quite possibly true.
And it'd be so poetic if, there's just this wildly over-the-top romantic scene between Mab and the Merlin, and Harry's just watching going, what the fuck?
Mab and Merlin haven't seen each other for 250 years, and they meet up, and it's just really, really R-rated. It's like that scene with Harry and Susan that everyone gets to in the books and goes, whoa! I was not reading that book. But it's just written from Harry's perspective, watching it, being like, I kept trying to look away, but it was everywhere I looked.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't.
But this is the real reason the Merlin wants Harry off the White Council, because he slept with Mab. Boom.
Yeah.
Sorted.
I like that.
Done.
Absolutely solved. 10 out of 10. No notes.
They're just on a final point, because I don't know if I mentioned it before, but does Harry reference the statue in Arctis Tor when he sees the statue in Hades's vault?
In Skim Game. No, I don't.
I don't think he does, right?
No.
Because I never really clocked it when he describes the one in Arctis Tor. He's like, "Oh, it's three sisters.
Yeah.
They look very alike." And then he sees effectively the same thing. It's so.
Is that right though? Because the
one in Hades is more. He sort of more points out that it looks like it's Molly, Mab, and
it's the triple goddess.
Yeah,
isn't it?
But he gets a much better look at it. Is the one thing.
I don't think the fountain statue is a triple goddess. I think it's three sisters.
Possibly.
I think.
Possibly. That could allude to the fact that the one in Hades, therefore, is a summer variant of it. Maybe I don't know. It's all
the way the fey courts work is also confusing. and the role of Hecate in all of that is really confusing.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, yeah, we've never really had that explained either, right?
It's thrown. It's another thing that gets thrown around a lot, but I don't think it's not clear.
Especially the sort of reasonably minor deity in the Greek pantheon. I mean, that's possibly doing her.
Yeah, that's the thing that's weird, isn't it?
Not an Olympian,
massive fixation on Hecate, who is very much a minor god.
Although
goddess, I suppose. She's not an Olympian.
She's also not a Titan, right?
No, she's just she's in the same boat as people like whatever the Greek equivalent of Nike was. Like a minor. Oh,
no,
who was? Screw you for making me look this up.
But Hecate was like closely related to Diana.
Yeah.
Who is Artemis? I always forget.
Diana is Artemis.
Yeah. It's interesting. So Hecate is the goddess.
But she's always been the triple goddess.
Yes.
Where did she come from? Here we go. She.
According to Wikipedia, she's also
she's a child of Titans. She's a child of Titans.
Yeah, but so it's interesting because she was worshipped as a protector of the household, right? Reality kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
She was also more universally a role as the savior, mother of angels, which I think is also quite funny. The cosmic world soul. So I don't know. She's quite.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still feels like an odd shout. But Bob mentions Hecate so early on in the series as well.
She's mentioned in the first book.
Is it the first book?
She's mentioned in the first book when Harry's trying to work out who could generate enough power to do the Shadow Man spell. And I'm sure Bob says an old god like Hecate.
Yeah,
Hecate.
maybe
Hecate.
Hecate is probably the closest. I don't know. Hecate.
It's probably Hecate.
But so as ever with episodes we do on the Dresden Files, more questions than answers.
I hate that this keeps happening.
I think one that we should sizzle and discuss, because we didn't get around to, is who fixed Little Chicago?
Yeah, I put that on there as an unfinished plot thread.
Yeah,
but
it's a great one.
I think who fixed Little Chicago and how did Harry's dad die are connected. I'm not quite sure how, but they feel connected. Also, what stroke who was Malcolm Dresden?
Well, I mean, I think the answers to the questions are at Lash/Harry and Aneurysm.
All right.
There you go.
Spoil my
Sorted.
fun.
Sizzle ruined. Guess we won't be doing that on the upcoming episode. But unless you have any final words of wisdom, which is unlikely because you'd need to be wise for that.
I haven't had any all episode.
There you go. So thank you, in spite of that, then, for listening to this episode of Expertise is Overrated. No doubt we've said some things that were either objectively wrong or downright offensive. As ever, feel free to let us know. Rate the podcast wherever you can. Check out our Patreon for bonus content and come chat to us on our Discord.
If you're lucky, we might just argue with you in one of our upcoming episodes. If you're really lucky, we might call you an idiot. Come back next time for some more absolute nonsense.